Trade Talk, powered by Travis Perkins.
Hello, I'm Sally Wallace and Happy New Year. Joining me today in the studio is...
Hi Sally, I'm Dan Simmons, Managing Director of Populate Social. I've been we started that business about 8 years ago now. We've got offices in Cardiff and London, working with all types of brands of all shapes and sizes, helping them kind of win online.
Hi Sally, my name's Ryan Roberts. I've got a company called RJ Electrical, based in mostly Hale and South Manchester. I've been doing the electrics for over 20 years. Went through apprenticeship straight from school and just enjoy it.
And you're here with me today. Marvellous.
Hi,
and
Sally. I'm Carl Conway, KLC Builders based in South Manchester. Been building now for about 35 years.
And Carl is actually it's the fourth time you've done an episode now, so it's almost like we're old friends.
It is. I'm proud to be here.
And of course, I'm Sally Wallace. I am your host, and I have been married to the trade now for 16 years this year, because we are now into 2024. So welcome to Trade Talk, which is powered by Travis Perkins. This is the podcast for anybody who is in the trade. We're here to offer you little bits of advice, keep you up to date with new things that might be of help to you within your work, and also at the same time have a little bit of fun and a bit of banter around the trade, because that's really what truly keeps it alive as well. So it is the new year. We've got Dan with us today. Our episode today is predominantly going to be about social media and how marketing and social media can really help you within your business. Maybe you don't use it or you do use it. So yeah, lots of questions can be asked about this subject. But really, this question's for Ryan and Carl. I mean, we're into January now. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year? How's work been? Did either of you actually take any time off at all?
Yeah, I've taken a few days off, if I'm honest. I needed it.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, Ryan, my husband saw you yesterday and said you and you... This is no lie, because Ryan's worked with my husband, Scott. 14 years you've worked together. Which we have. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing work relationship and friendship. It's just been, it's wonderful. And Scott said to me, hey, listen, Ryan's with you tomorrow. And just make sure you say this. I saw him in his tracksuit and said, Ryan, are you not back on it yet? And apparently you said, I'm easing myself back into it.
Well, I had one of the lads on site, so how I see it is, I'm, going nice and steady into the new year. I don't want to, bust myself, hurt myself.
Nothing wrong with that, Ryan. It's your business.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, going red.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Carl, did you take any time off?
I try to. Yeah, we did get a bit of time. I like to have the quality time with the family as well. But sometimes it's a bit hard when you're getting like an emergency call or someone's got a leak on the roof, and recently we've had the weather, haven't we? So it is pretty tricky to try and take the time off, because you don't want to let anyone down, but yeah, you've got to have that quality time.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm married to the trade for 16 years, and Ryan can back me up on this one. Scott never stops.
He doesn't.
So for me, we saw him Christmas Day and Boxing Day. And then he was gone again, back in again.
Plumbers is the main part, isn't it? Because everyone's kind of in November started turning the boilers on, and then they're realising they're not working.
The rainfall in the UK this winter so far has just been horrendous. So have you guys been sort of called off site, not been able to work because of the weather?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I've had issues with faults.
Oh, really?
External lighting, and that's a big problem in this, when we get this weather. I did one yesterday. So, even though Scott said I was in my tracksuit, I still went to work and sorted it out.
But very
He was there as well. Hey? And it was in my work gear when I went there.
Oh, do you know what, Ryan? It's just, you know what he's like. If he said something, he'll say it to me, he'll go on, say this, just wind him up.
Ryan, I think he's got an expensive taste of a wife there that he has to keep going, all
he don't get a choice.
Restaurants that he's taking it to.
Listen,
it's McDonald's for me and you, mate.
Chippies.
Don't you dare. Right, so today we are talking about social media, and it's really lovely to have Dan with us in the studio, who is actually our expert. Can I call you an expert, Dan?
Yeah, we can do our best, definitely.
Well, I'm calling you the expert. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about your company. I know you introduced yourself, but tell us a little bit about your company and what it is that you actually do and specialise in.
Yeah, I mean, we help kind of, as I said, brands and individuals kind of get the most out of their social presence. So generally that means trying to get a bit more work or building a bit of their online visibility. So and we can advise them on strategy, like, what platform should they be on? How often should they be posting? How much time and energy should they really be committing to it? I think that does vary massively depending on what it is they're trying to achieve. And then, we can also then help them implement if they want. So producing some content, photography, video, and actually then maybe running some advertising campaigns to build up a bit of presence for them.
So right now you've got in front of you a gentleman who owns his own electrical firm and then Carl who owns his own building firm. Would you recommend them to be on social media?
Yeah, I think so. If you're looking to try and build kind of credibility, long-term growth for the business, then absolutely, I think it's a great place to showcase what you're doing, build up a pipeline of work, which I think obviously in the building trade these days, people are quite busy, so how much that's needed, I think depends on the state of the business at that point in time. But equally, it might allow you to kind of charge more for some of the work that you're doing if you're building up higher quality of work as well. So yeah, massively, I think that it's becoming more and more of an arena where people can get involved and actually get involved in quite simple ways, whether it's working with kind of big influencers, particularly in like the real estate and housing sector. There's so many massive influencers and stuff now where you do a bit of work for them and you want to get a bit of visibility, all of a sudden you can have your brand in front of 400,000 or 500,000
bigger
people
population, isn't it?
So just out of interest, are either of you on social media? Be honest.
Yeah, we fire it out occasionally on Facebook. We don't put too much. We've got website and things like that. But no, I'm not really too tech on the social media. So
you've got a website?
I've got a website.
And you're on Facebook?
We're on Facebook.
And what about yourself,
Well,
Ryan?
I'm on Instagram, but I'm a bit of a technophobe, if I'm honest.
I'd rather you were honest.
The thing is about it is running your own business, you don't really stop with the actual hands-on and then obviously the quote in the paper side of it. I'm not really office-minded, so that's pretty difficult for me as it is. So to add another element to the whole, the whole thing is a bit daunting for me. So, and without that sort of social media background, it's like it's just a brand new thing to start looking into. I don't know, it's just daunting for me, so that's why I know that works. You see it working, don't you? But it's for someone that has no experience in it, obviously you could probably post and that will help, but I don't know, I probably make excuses maybe, but I think the main thing is not knowing the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. And this is, Dan, this is where sometimes as well, when you're working in a client's house and like, say, some of the lights and the lighting that Ryan fits is insane. Like, incredible stuff you do. You do like all the neutron lighting and everything.
We do all sorts, plastering, profile lighting, a lot of niche lighting, task lighting, a lot of shadow lighting. It's really, really smart stuff.
Yeah.
Really smart stuff. And to be fair, the way I take pictures, it just won't do it justice. I've tried.
I was going to say,
tried.
You've got to try and make it look sexy, haven't you?
We're doing a really lovely landscaping job and it's phenomenal. But I took pictures the other day and you can't see it. So I just think, post that. If you went and saw that job, honestly, it's amazing. But when I take a picture without without a skill set, it does not do it justice. And I think a lot of people will relate to that.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree, because I think when people think electrician, this is no disrespect, Ryan, I'm not in any way, but people think it's like sticking up a dimmer switch. Do you know what I mean? And it's
socket.
Can you come and move this socket for us, love?
If you've got a certain room that hasn't got natural lighting in, then the electrician will kind of convert that and give you the best lighting and the view that you can do. So it does make a big difference.
Oh,
someone
huge,
that knows what they're looking at.
I've noticed a massive difference over the last sort of probably decade of people putting more effort into the residential lighting designs and what they want in houses, especially in a kitchen. Because it's all open plan now, isn't it? So everyone, it's not just a little room here, a little room there. Everyone wants one big space, and in that space they have a lot of stuff going on.
No, this is what I'm saying. So, see, when Ryan does something that's so niche like that, and he's just said that he struggles with photography, does it have to be pictures that's going to be easy to promote on social media?
To be fair, I think videos probably work best now, and that does get the visibility across most platforms, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, probably in the main. But I think, like, obviously, one of your biggest issues is having the confidence or the ability to be able to go and get the best content. I think there are ways I think that could actually be, you can sort that out, which could be potentially looking at like apprenticeships with young people that automatically are on their phones. They know what they're doing. They can come in and do it. It's fairly inexpensive, really, to bring people in like that. If the business wants to invest in it, I think it just depends whether there's an appetite there for the business to want to. If people are picking up work regularly through word of mouth and that sort of stuff, then it starts to get a bit of a feeling, well, what do we need to do that? I guess the other flip side to that argument, though, is when you're showing people, you can potentially then look to upsell them more work because you've got better quality lighting, whatever it is, which then obviously helps your bottom line as well as a business. So I think there are ways and means, I think, of bringing in some skill sets, in a fairly inexpensive way that can actually be a longer term investment into the business, which I think could be helpful.
Right. A lot of the jobs that we have, which is kind of under drawings, it's not really noted to detail on the drawings. So if someone comes and they've got like an architect's drawings, they're not really pinpointing like they want, say, 8 spotlights and what kind of lighting they're wanting. Most of the time, if it's not noted to the architect, they're putting 1 ceiling rose in and 1 switch. So that's when the communication from an electrician then can add that on later on, or put it to the drawings of what they want. So there is a little touch-ups and little things that you do need to do with certain parts of work. Security lighting outside, floors outside.
So Carl, so you've got a website, you said, and you're on Facebook. So do you put pictures of your work on Facebook as well?
Not as much as I should, but the lad that does take over my website has just said, listen, keep throwing me your pictures, let's update it.
Right, so you've already got somebody helping you at the moment, have you? Right, okay.
Yeah, I do have a YouTube, I started this for fun really, a YouTube site where I show how to build things, and that's how I started, how to put a plug in a wall, how to build a wall, how to do this. And that seems to have grown a little bit, so Google have recognised...
You kept that one quiet? I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I started about 12 years ago, and there's a few videos on there down to having a hair transplant.
No, you've had a hair...
Yeah,
do you know what?
yeah,
right, I've said this before on an episode.
Hair in it,
Right, no, seriously, right, I'm not joking. I've said this before on an episode. Gone are the days of the builder's bum, because literally everybody's having their teeth and their hair done nowadays, aren't they? So you've got turkey teeth and turkey hair.
I'm going from the turkey teeth if I can get round and doing it. Yeah,
but you've had your turkey hair done.
I've had the hair done. Yeah. So there's videos on there, but it's so long ago that building a wall that look.
And did you do like a step? So you've done that on. So this is fascinating. This is great. So you've actually filmed your hair being done and put that online.
Yeah, there's a video on there.
Is that under the same video as how to build a wall?
Yeah.
And get your hair done.
On the same one.
Welcome to Carl's site.
Hair, bricks,
Click
and
here.
turkey teeth. What can you
Click
say?
here for OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's coming. That hopefully, I've got to convince the wife.
I tell you what, there's bound. I don't know. I'm not on Only. I was going to say there must be an OnlyFans builder, surely.
Could be.
Oh, they've got to be on there. I think we need to start one. I think that's it. You could be our manager,
and you've got to negotiate your price.
No tweaking now. No ice.
I'll give you £7.
No, but why I mentioned with the YouTube is because obviously that kind of gets so many followers and so many hits. So people nowadays want to learn and save money of how to do things. Now with electrics, you need Part P certificates and you need the qualifications to really go for that kind of job. But if someone wanted to build a wall or patch a wall up of a window and take one out, then they're going to look on YouTube and they're going to go, how do I do it? How do I mix this stuff? And experience is one thing, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people that try to save money to go on. So I have that channel that kind of boosts me up a little bit.
Yep.
So again, it can be introduced with marketing and everything else.
So do you get a lot of business that comes through that as well? Or have you had any business that comes through either your website or your YouTube channel?
Well, when I ask people where they've got my number from, some people, it is a stab in the dark. They're going onto the internet or on Google and tapping in builders Manchester, electricians Manchester, and they're just pinpointing it out. Now, I don't put a lot of money into it, so I'm presuming that the people that are watching the YouTube is making me algorithms, is it? That boost me up a little bit.
Is that what happens then, Dan? Is that how your algorithm? Because the whole algorithm thing, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, or on Google, it baffles me. It just seems like it changes constantly, and people are like, "Oh, hang on a minute, I've got to beat the algorithm." I don't know why everybody sounds like that, but for some reason I seem to do hello. But it's almost like it just constantly changes, and therefore you feel like you're just running around in circles, and like you feel like you're not going to get anywhere. So why should you bother doing it then?
Yeah, I can understand that. I think that like you said, a lot of people search for it when they're looking for it. I think there's been a massive trend towards people searching on things like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok for like Builders Manchester or whatever it might be, the service they're looking for. And the way those platforms are developed now is they will actually start to use it in the search engines. So if people come up, if you search it into Google, you might get a TikTok video which is relevant to that particular search come up. So, and it's actually a lot easier for somebody to just go around and make a quick video of something they've done in that, that's relevant to that search. So I think that there are easier ways now for you guys to appear in those environments, which is brilliant for people searching, and it's so visual because it's that ultimately what you do is pretty visual, right? So I think it's then people then can build a bit of trust around it. So when it comes down to the algorithms, they do change, but I think that's why sometimes it helps to work with someone maybe on a monthly, quarterly basis just to kind of help keep pushing you in the right direction. So it's then you're just guiding somebody along the right lines to make sure that they're getting the most out of it. There's also no point doing it if you're not getting anything out of it as well, because it is time intensive sometimes to get the most from it. And so I think definitely working with people that know what they're doing can help.
I think if you're building a company up and you want more and more, and that's the way you want to go, you need to go to someone like yourself that's actually going to push you forward and help you with whatever you do. Because as Ryan says, we're tradesmen. Where we started off in the trade, we didn't go out as salesmen or marketing or designers.
But that comes as part of your job, isn't it? So
yeah.
you're not only a tradesman, you literally are your own marketing, you're your own salesman.
Yeah.
Exactly. You've got to have you are literally your own customer services department as well. So there's an awful lot that sort of rests on your shoulders anyway.
It's a trust thing with the public. If they're happy to meet you and they're happy with you and they're happy with what they see about you, then they'll go for it.
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
I believe if you come across well and you're legit and you're quite
no BS involved.
No, exactly.
In the job,
I think if you're a genuine person, you try and give a good quality service, and you're legit to yourself. I think really that it should come, and if people need you and they make a phone call to you and you don't let them down and you're responsive, then it should really snowball. But going on to the social media thing, how do you get the followers? Is it just how do you get the views? How do you get that? If let's say you've only got a very small following at first, how does that escalate?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways in which that can happen. Number one, like just naturally by people searching. So if you've got something that you're doing that people are looking for it might be, I don't know, a specific type of lighting that you guys do, because that's there's not many people doing it.
Yeah.
People will be looking for that sort of thing. So naturally, by putting content out where there's not a lot of that kind of volume of it, but it's something that people want to see, then that's cool. The algorithm will definitely put it in front of the right people for you. You can pay for reach as well. So
reach is that? What's that?
So get it in front of people,
right,
to get it in front of people's eyeballs, right? So if you're scrolling on Instagram or whatever it might be, we can target the right type of person. So it might be, I don't know, first time buyer that's a certain age range, because we know that that's a typical kind of audience. They might have a certain level of income because that's the kind of spends they need to be able to to afford some of the stuff that people are doing, whatever level that might be. And so we can then say, right, well, we want to put this particular piece of content in front of them. That could be a show around a little room, or it could be you talking to camera and taking someone around, or so they get to experience you guys as well. People still buy from people, as you kind of pretty much said. So it helps you get across a bit of personality at that point as well. You can pay to get the reach is one other way.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned it before, but you can work then with people that have already got big followings to kind of get yourself out there as well. So that might be doing a discounted piece of work, or it might, whatever it might be, to kind of use their following that already exists. Maybe it is in the local area. I mean, there's tons of massive houses around kind of Cheshire area, aren't there? The people that are doing them up all the time that have probably got big Instagram followings.
So you collaborate with them in a sense, and you pay for that, like privilege generally.
I think paying for it in your industry probably you wouldn't need to, but the cost would come from your time.
So would that be working at maybe that person's house, doing something free for them, and they'll promote your work?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
See, things like that have happened in the past, and I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody here because I don't work in the trade, but I'm married to the trade, and I do know for a fact that Scott's been approached in the past to do work on somebody's potentially famous person's house as a freebie, and half the time it does not work in the trade's favour at all. They'll be massively out of pocket just to have this reputation of being, the person who fitted XYZ in this person's house. And so just from experience, that doesn't necessarily always work. So doing a collaboration or a freebie for somebody, because at the end of the day, not only the trade individual got to fit all the products, which is time, they've got to buy it as well. So it's almost like, well, do you know what? It can be a little bit of a grey area, I think, and also a little, somewhere where you probably want to tiptoe a little bit around.
Yeah, I think it depends how you play it for me. Like, I think there's obviously... people need to pay for the the fixed costs. In my opinion, I think that means that you're not out of pocket when you're actually doing the work. It's just your time invested into it, which is up to you whether you see it as a marketing cost or whatever it might be. And it's your way of getting distribution of your content to an audience of people. I think just doing it for somebody famous is cool, but actually if they're not going to publicise that and actually tag you into the posts and make sure that you're getting the visibility on your channels, it's a massive waste of time. Whereas actually if they've got a profile that that will tag you into it and it's driving their audience back to your Instagram account or your website, then you are going to ultimately probably going to get a significant impact on inquiries, I think, into the business. I think you got to then decide whether are you set up ready to deal with that.
Dan, what are your thoughts on hashtags? So, because people are like, well, hashtag this, and you can end up with 30 hashtags, more or less. What do you think?
I don't think it matters a massive amount, if I'm honest with you. I think it's kind of one of those, like, it's a go-to as something that people think they should be doing. Absolutely, it does help you find certain content if you've got something really specific in that video or what have you. But to be honest with you, I don't think it matters a massive amount. Like, if you're really hyper-local, then maybe including a few of those local hashtags and like...
Is that like trigger words? Is that the same sort of thing? Yeah, it would just be
things that like make the content that you're posting associate to a particular hashtag, so that then when people look for it, so I might, if I'm looking for, I don't know, a plumber in my local area, I might search on that hashtag or type that into Instagram, and then all of a sudden any content that's associated to that will pop up into the feed. So it can help kind of get you in front of the right people. I think it's pointless just typing in hashtag plumber, hashtag whatever it is, electrician, because it's just so many, there's millions of people using those hashtags. It's kind of becomes pretty irrelevant.
Generic.
Unless you want to go big. You know, there will probably be TikTokers and stuff out there that are builders that are just doing stupid stuff.
There are some very famous TikTokers that are carpenters, I think, and builders that just dance, don't they? They actually look at me, just dance. But they do some sort of dance moves in front of the camera. I won't tell you what my husband said. He goes, if he was on my site, I was like, okay, calm down. But like, what?
Change accent. I'll have to have a word with him.
No, but can you imagine if somebody started dancing in front? Seriously, right?
Well,
if somebody started dancing in front of the Ryan, what are going on?
Not when I'm there though.
Yeah, don't check my YouTube videos. Please don't look. I'm dancing in a skip. I've got my thermals on though, so I'm all right.
No, but really, I mean, there are certain guys, and you can't knock them for it, but they are getting lots and lots of followings because they are builders or they're tradesmen, and they're dancing in front of the camera and they're going viral on TikTok. So this is my next question then. TikTok or Instagram then for Reels? Because you mentioned earlier that videos, when Ryan said, oh, I'm not great at taking pictures, you said videos are probably the way forwards. Yeah. So what would you recommend, TikTok or Instagram?
I think it depends on the audience they're trying to target. I'd say like TikTok is definitely skewed towards younger people. It's not as like, it's not the 15, 16-year-olds that everyone kind of thinks it is. It does go up to 35, 40. But I think that it generally is probably a slightly younger skew. So potentially people that are trying to target a slightly younger audience with the work they're doing makes more sense there. Instagram probably is a much broader space, and I think probably transcends its skews slightly higher. So again, potentially if you're looking at picking one of each, it depends on what you're trying to do, the type of work you're trying to do as well. Instagram's far more like visually impactful, I think, isn't it, in terms of like the beautiful things that people see on there. Whereas TikTok is a bit more raw. So again, I think it just depends on the type of work people are doing.
I've never used TikTok.
So.
No, see, I've got TikTok, but my little boy's 8 years old and he has hold of my phone.
Yeah.
And I've got so many videos of his face spinning around in a washing machine or something. So when someone probably looks at my name and sees that, I've lost it.
Yeah.
So I need to speak to you later to know how to take it off, mate, because I'm learning. Yeah.
TikTok's one of those, it's like you said, I always thought that TikTok was just for the very, very young generation, but TikTok is almost becoming a search engine, isn't it?
Yeah.
People do tend to use TikTok to go on holiday, to look for restaurants. Yeah. So potentially, it does have potential to be used.
I think it could be massive, yeah.
With the trade.
In that exact example, that is it. Like people, it is one of the biggest search engines in the world now for that sort of stuff. And as I said before, it appears on Google, some of the videos do. So if you're making really specific content for things that people will be searching for, and you're the only people, or one of some of the best people doing that, then absolutely it can be a massive lead generator for the business and a bit of credibility as well. I think it depends on how people want to play their strategy and just the time they want to invest in it. There's no reason why you couldn't post the same content on both channels if you're just looking at video content, and it can be really simple, just walkthroughs, whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be anything mental. I think on the other side, when you talk about some people doing stupid dancing and stuff on TikTok, I think that those kinds of people probably have, might have a million followers, couple of million followers, whatever it is. They'll be then working with brands and starting to get paid. Their work and their revenue comes from a slightly different thing at that stage. Like if they are building it up, it could become another revenue stream for people, right? They might have a team of people that are doing stuff, and they're kind of building up a completely separate revenue stream. People like Travis Perkins might end up sponsoring them with some stuff to actually build up there.
They're not going to be fitting sockets anymore, are they? No, I'm going to go and do some dancing in the skip. It's going to sort my new hair transplant out. It's going to pay for my teeth.
Now, there's an idea.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us today. Dan, thank you for your information. It's been, honestly, so much to take on board, and I'm definitely certain that these guys are going to be having a conversation with you afterwards as well. Ryan, thank you for joining us. Carl as well.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Trade Talk, powered by Travis Perkins. My name is Sally Wallace. Thank you to the gentleman in the studio with me today. And next episode, we are going to be celebrating National Apprenticeship Week. We have Carl, once again joining us in the studio, Rory Woodhouse, who is the owner of Woodhouse Plumbing, Heating and Electrical from Frodsham, and our expert, Andy Rayner, who is the director of Leap Apprenticeships and Early Careers.
Apprenticeships have been going for a long time, and when you think about how many people join the sector and join the trade, it's often through the apprenticeship route. And it's really, really important that we keep encouraging young people to come into the sector, and apprenticeships are the most effective and efficient way of doing that.
We hope that you can join us then.
Trade Talk, powered by Travis Perkins.